Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Please do make sure to like and subscribe the video as it would help a lot. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. This post is by Relative Smile 1615. 200-pound man tied and gagged on acid. My friend, co-worker and I live in a large communal building with our other friends and co-workers. We do LSD every weekend and spend our trips playing music together. Another friend of ours in our building does acid with us on occasion. This friend had not done acid in about a month, but he came to my apartment to partake in yesterday's evening. We had issues with him dissociating before, but nothing that was major cause for concern. Yesterday, however, he became such a danger we had to gag and tie him, and spend the better part of 5 hours restraining him. The evening started off fairly normal. My go-to acid buddy, we will call him Pepe, and I were both on 3 tabs of 150 micrograms. Our 200-pound friend took 2 tabs of 150 micrograms. A few hours in, and the acid began to take some strong effect. We busted out some instruments and started jamming out. The 200-pound friend was on my couch, just vibing out, and as the acid got stronger, he started dissociating again. It started with him getting up startled, grabbing Pepe's guitar and laying back down. This left us very confused. A thought loop then occurred, which he was repeating verbally to us. About every 10 seconds he would say "fuck Pepe," referring to my go-to acid buddy. Then he started to repeatedly lunge towards him, trying to grab him, then laying back down. Rinse and repeat. This went on for about 2.5 hours, until he started to regain consciousness. Just as he was regaining cognitive control, he dissociated again. He began screaming about how we did too many drugs. Mind that our careers are contingent on sobriety, and this put us at risk for reprisal, losing our jobs and possibly jail time. Then he started screaming 3 phrases as loud as he could in a loop. "No shit, I'm gay," and "Casino hollow body." He was jumping up and down. The unhinged violence emanating from his eyes, posture, and irregular vocal tones induced a panic aura that pressured us, and we erupted in a scrambled frenzy to get the doors closed and the situation under control. With no real course of action, we attempted to play therapist and calm him down, but he was unresponsive. He continued to violently lunge towards us, flail around, scream, and would occasionally try to run out the door. He was losing motor skill function in the left side of his face, but this is something he normally does when he's intoxicated. This spelled disaster for all of us. First, we had to stop his screaming before any of our other co-workers in the building heard him. Pepe covered his mouth with his hand, but after about an hour, we realized this was not a long-term solution. We stuffed the sock in his mouth and secured it with duct tape wrapped around his head. At this point, he was so sweaty and slimy that he was hard to hold in place. He is also a lot stronger than Pepe and myself, so we struggled to keep him under control. For the sake of our careers, we bound his calves and thighs together with duct tape so we could no longer run for the doors, or worse, the window. It has been about 3 hours and he still had not come to. We had also tied his hands so he could no longer flail his arms around and try to hurt us. We held him down in a chair, followed by pinning him down on the floor to keep him under control. This went on for a total of 5 hours, until he calmed down. This was a very traumatizing experience for Pepe and I. We were hallucinating very hard while restraining this 200-pound trained killer. Needless to say, we will never do acid with him again. What exactly happened? We have never witnessed someone act so unresponsive and uncontrollable on acid. My roommate, who was also on acid and checked in on the 3 of us on occasion, believed that no one could act that way without choosing to do so. I have done acid well over 100 times with over a dozen different people, and I have witnessed negative reactions to acid in the past, but never seen someone throw a violent tantrum like this. Do you think he chose to behave this way, and was actually cognitive the whole time? Was this a predictable reaction? If you have any insight to what happened, please share. This next story is posted by BergZeeg69. Partardation in Peru. I believe it's my time to finally contribute. At the time, I was living in Lima, Peru, and although very familiar with all types of drugs, thanks to the Berlin party scene, I wasn't very familiar with prescription meds, besides some Valium here and there to come down. My first contact with Xans should have come as a warning, but it did quite the opposite actually. I basically innocently walked into a rural Peruvian pharmacy, asked for some kind of a sleep pill in order to make the 20-hour bus ride ahead more bearable, fully expecting some weak over-the-counter type pills, but actually was given 3 1mg alprazolams. Not really aware of what I was given, I head to the bus, take one and wait for a while. Not tired. Take the other 2 and pass out for 15 hours. I woke up when the bus made a stop in a desert-type area. Obviously, I was very confused about the time travel that just happened, and thought I better get some fresh air and use a toilet break. Somehow, I ended up taking off my pants, as it was warm as fuck, and just abandoned them in the desert, and jumped back on the bus in my underpants. No questions asked. Here comes the blackout. A couple days later, back in Lima, I decided to do some research on alprazolam, and found out that it's Xanax. Next logical step was to go pharmacy hopping until I scored like 20 blisters of 0.5 milligrams for no more than $5. I live with about 12 other exchange students, amongst them 2 French guys. We got along super well and still do to this day. We all love to party hard, but in terms of drugs, they were a bit more innocent. I somehow managed to convince half the house that we should buy a shit ton of cocaine, weed, and rum. Remember, this was in Peru, so we got 10 G's of premium straight out of the jungle for $70. We started drinking and doing line after line, as well as popping a shit ton of Xanax on a Friday night. I barely remember heading out to the club, shit-faced out of my mind, but feeling like a Greek demigod, before mine as well as my mate's memory set out. So, from here on, it's all allegedlys. After the club, Saturday morning, we allegedly brought home a couple of girls and had a coke and Xan-fueled orgy in the living room of the shared house. Much to the dismay of the more innocent exchange students who did not come out with us or try to sleep. Although one of the Spanish girls decided to join in. Shame, I don't remember jack shit. But according to her, she had a great time and hopped beds for the next couple of weeks. Apparently, we decided to keep the bender going, so more coke was bought, and based on the taxi app history, we headed to a Peruvian massage parlor/brothel Saturday evening. I, to this day, firmly believe one of us has a Peruvian child he doesn't know about. Anyway, allegedly we came back to the house in the middle of the night, and went straight back to causing a huge havoc in the shared living room. I was told after that I allegedly shat into the corner of the living room, stuck a bunch of chips in it, and pissed on my artwork after. One of my mates allegedly started fucking, or at least trying to fuck the TV, and cut his foreskin, as we had porn running in the background at max volume for hours on end. Burgers, fries, and shitty pizzas were smeared across the wall and carpet. Weed, coke, cigarettes, used condoms, empty blisters, and beers everywhere. We also thought it'd be a great idea to wake up some of the other exchange students, begging them to order us hookers as their Spanish was better. Apparently, we also cut down cactuses in our yard and cooked them, fully convinced they were peyotes. You get the picture. Police also showed up at some point, but were swiftly bribed away. It truly must have been a sight to behold. We must have ran out of drugs sometime around Sunday night, as I woke up, or rather, somewhat came to my senses, Monday evening. Needless to say, there was a shit ton of detective work, apologizing, cleaning up and cooking for the whole house. Astonishingly, I recovered pretty swiftly the following days, although frying the absolute shit out of my brain. Somehow, we collectively only spent $400 that weekend, but to this day, we are still really sad about the fact that we can't remember shit, as it must have been a legendary sesh. Wow guys, this last story was crazy. Imagine doing coke and all that stuff, and just being able to be a functioning member of society. Much respect for this dude, he did the impossible. But guys, please do be sure to be safe, and don't take drugs. They are really bad for you, so please don't do it.